Carter Brandon had a week's holiday. He spent it taking day trips in his car with his Uncle Mort. This is what happened on the 5th day, if you can muster up the enthusiasm to listen. They were on their way to the seaside.
Carter,
Yes?
do you like the Swingle Singers?
No, I can't stand them.
Good. Neither can I.
They entered the outskirts of the seaside watering place, where they were to spend the rest of the day. They passed gasometers and surly warehouses. There were rows of back-to-back terraced houses with potholed streets and gawky street corner shops. There were mongrel dogs running free and barking at the wind. There was a large factory chimney sighing with thick black smoke.
I like all this. The rot only sets in when you get to the sea and the sand.
Carter Brandon left the car in a large, drafty car park. Scuds of old newspaper and sweet wrappings, caught by the wind, wrapped themselves round their ankles. The sea blast smacked straight into their faces as they turned onto the prom. It ruffled the plants and the floral clock and furrowed the surface of the rainwater, dawdling on the buckled flagstones. Way out to the west, on the distant sea horizon, a container ship nodded somnolently at the wind-whipped waves.
I remember the halcyon days, when ships had funnels in the middle.
Aye.
They was proper ships then, Carter. They had sharp fronts and heavy rounded backsides. No wonder they were always called she.
Aye.
They used to fly their house flags on the mainmast. Fuss and Jas Harrison, that were a good one. It were this bulbous-shaped red cross on a white background.
Sounds smashing.
Oh, it were. And the funnel were a belter too. Black with 2 white stripes and 1 red. 2 of fat and 1 of lean, they called it. Very observant, eh, Carter?
Too true.
They hoisted up their coat collars and set off along the prom. The tide was in, and sullen breakers coiled around the groins and wound their backs round the stanchions of the pier.
I like piers. Shall we take a stroll on it?
Why not? There might be a pub on the end of it. That's my philosophy on life, any road.
The wooden planking of the pier was warped. There were gaps in it, and they could see the waves churning and chuntering beneath their feet. There was a boarded-up kiosk with a blotchy sign. Gypsy Ernie Petulengro, fortune-teller to the stars. And there were faded, salt-spat photographs of David Whitfield and Eve Boswell. The theatre at the end of the pier was closed. Its main doors clicked dryly to and fro to the tune of the breeze, and there were holes in the roof.
I once saw Robinson Cleaver here.
Did you?
Certainly, lad, certainly. And Anne Seeger and Webster Booth, and Gwen Catley, the Welsh Nightingale, and Collinson and Breen. Somebody's pinched me pudding.
Were they good?
No, they were rubbish. Happy days, eh?
They leaned on the railings of the pier. The great arc of the shallow bay lay preening itself in the sun, purring to the motion of the tide. The peaks of the high fells sliced the contours of the broad blue sky. A scurry of oyster-catchers flew low over the rim of the strand.
We used to come on holiday here, year after year after year.
All right. Did you enjoy it?
Good God, no, lad. You don't go on holiday to the seaside in the north to enjoy yourself. You go there as an annual penance. This is the place where they first invented the plastic raincoat, you know.
Is it?
Certainly, lad, certainly. Used to buy one every year religious when we came here. And within 2 days you could guarantee the buttonholes was all ripped and it smelled of stale rock salmon.
I see.
It were the sea I couldn't stand, Carter. You had to go in it and pretend you was having a good time. And them drink-crazed crabs and half-digested turds. And the crutch of your cossie always got waterlogged and sagged down round your ankles. And when you got back to the shore you found some dog had done its business on your boots. The best time I ever spent here was during the last war. Hey, all that prom yonder was covered in coils of barbed wire. And you couldn't go on the beach owing to mines and these massive great wooden poles they put up to stop gliders landing. There was just one British restaurant selling snook and Woolton pies. And the whole place was full of wounded soldiers from the Hydro in blue uniforms and red ties. By gum, it were wonderful, Carter. You could really enjoy your misery in comfort.
They commenced to walk shorewards. Now the tide was on the turn, and a sliver of wet, puckered sand was exposed to the sun. It glistened. A Manchester Terrier with a bandaged front paw barked at the water's edge.
Do you remember Troyes and his Mandeliers, Carter?
No. Who were they?
Well, in a manner of speaking, they was in the same boat as Felix Mendelssohn and his Hawaiian Serenaders.
I see.
I thought you would.
They left the pier and looked landwards at the buildings on the opposite side of the prom. There was a shop selling novelty rock and giant humbugs. There was a restaurant called the Lobster Pot. There was a tattooist parlour and an amusement arcade with glum-eyed one-armed bandits.
Look at it, Carter. The whole panoply of unbridled enjoyment.
I wonder if they have Standerwick buses here.
No, Ribble. Life's just one long valley of disappointment, isn't it?
Aye. I like bus companies, you know.
So do I. Hey, up, here's a test for you. What was the colour of the Wallasey Corporation buses?
Daffodil yellow. And Birkenhead's was royal blue.
Clever little sod.
They set off in the direction of the Winter Gardens. They were still closed owing to the recent winter, but there was a brand new poster outside advertising the imminent arrival of Comic Capers Carnival, with 3 Ks.
Bloody comedians. Why do they always try so relentlessly to be funny?
It's in the breed.
Oh, in that case, they want putting down painlessly.